it's like a button on Kickstarter. It's like literally like, it's like click this button to launch the campaign, and then your clock starts ticking. It's like that gave a real kind of urgency behind like what we're doing, and at the same time, it helped prove so much at that like within that time frame, because we were able to, kind of generate about $30,000 of crowdfunding revenues in about 30 days, which was a total success for us. To have never really produced a product ever. To literally have only had one sample made at the time, to, this being a brand new company. We didn't have a website. I mean, this was like completely from scratch, completely from trash.
Hello and welcome to So You Want to Start a Business, the podcast where we interview business owners, entrepreneurs and other smart guests so we can all learn tips, tactics and strategies. I'm your host, Ingrid Thompson, and it is my absolute pleasure to bring these interviews to you. Every guest has a unique perspective on business, and today is no exception. I recorded my interview with Hamilton Perkins a couple of weeks ago now, and I've listened to this interview a few times, and each time there is more and more terrific information from Hamilton. He is inspiring, and what they are doing for the people of Haiti is nothing short of amazing. And yes, those final words in that teaser intro are completely from trash. It's one of the longer interviews, and I really suggest you take the time to listen at least once. You may find yourself wanting to go back, as I did, and listen again. Hamilton Perkins tells us his business startup story, and it is quite a story. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, and here we are today with Hamilton Perkins. Hello, Hamilton.
Hello, Ingrid. Thank you so much for having us on.
And Hamilton's amazing because it's Friday afternoon his time, and most people are doing other things on a Friday afternoon rather than signing up for a podcast interview. So thanks so much. Hamilton, tell us about your business. What business are you in?
Yeah, so we're in the retail business. We're in the design business. We make bags out of recycled plastic bottles and upcycled billboard vinyl. We basically got our start with a Kickstarter campaign. We had a $10,000 goal last summer. We hit that goal in about a week. We had 6 months as a lead time to make the products. We followed that up with a business plan competition that we went to, and we were able to secure the grand prize of $25,000 as a grant. We finished the year out last year in 2016 with a trunk show that we hosted at Bloomingdale's in New York City, and to date we've done 3 trunk shows with Bloomingdale's. Came back to Virginia after the trunk show and shipped out all of our pre-orders to all the customers that had signed up to back us early on, and started our web store in early 2017. And this year has been really about investing in our inventory so that we can have the products that the customers would like to have from us or would like to buy from us. And we now are in a point where we're ramping up our production so that we can be in a good place for holiday this year. So, we're excited for kind of closing this year out and, kind of doing it all again next year, doing it on an even bigger scale next year.
Hamilton, what a story. That's fantastic. Now, because half the audience is in the US and there's a significant portion of the audience are in Australia, so I just need to clarify 2 things that you've said there. So, trunk sale in Bloomingdale's, and when you talk about holidays, you mean the sales that happen around Thanksgiving, don't you?
Exactly. So here in the U.S., we have so holiday would be kind of like December, kind of based around the Christmas holiday, and then for trunk sales, those are normally like brands or designers that they will host these sales events in store with either boutiques or department stores. Depending on the retailer, it will have a different format, but typically it's kind of all run through the point of sale of the retailer, and you sell to the retailer's customer base. So in our case, we sold through Bloomingdale's. So we were selling to the Bloomingdale's customer, a very prestigious, one of the top retailers in the world. And, we felt like that was the best place for our product to kind of really have its offline debut at the end of the day. I mean, we had done 99.9% of everything online, and
Yeah.
it's always good to give customers a chance to touch and feel what we're making, and to really just hear from some of the customers that are buying our products. And we now are kind of moving in a direction where we want to have more presence, because we found that having the product, customers are really already excited about it. They will buy it. We just need to have it produced. So now we're starting to explore wholesale relationships, and just working to get our products into stores and on a shelf near you.
Wow, that's fantastic. So a fantastic Kickstarter campaign that went really well, and that $25,000 prize would have been a huge bonus in your business, wouldn't it?
It totally gave us the runway that we needed. Starting a business, especially in retail, is very capital intensive upfront. There is really not a whole lot you can do with a retail business without the actual product. You can do branding, you can do awareness, but 99% of the time, people want things when they see it. They don't want to wait. We're all competing, in some way or in some fashion with Amazon, because they can sell and fulfill in such a quick timeline. So the further away you are from kind of, offering an Amazon Prime-like experience, I guess shame on you, right? But in our case, we had some very understanding customers in the early days, and they really, supported us through kind of that initial, boost to, stay efficient and, not necessarily overproduce or to kind of create more waste, something that we're trying to, kind of help reduce through the production of our product. And, I think that, the grant really paid off from a relationship standpoint as well. We had a chance to meet some very esteemed business people in business and professionals from our entire state. It was sponsored by the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, we got a chance to get really good leadership training and mentoring from other kind of more seasoned businesses, and it all kind of just has been something that has extended itself beyond just that one day and just that grant. It's always it's been a real it's just been a great ride so far. So we're just thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And we're going to tap into some of those topics that you've talked about with some of the future questions. So just back to getting started. So you've been going for just over a year or so. Why did you start your business? What was the reason for starting?
Yeah, I think I just wanted a bag that I could be proud of. I wanted a bag that said something about my values. I kind of previously had worked in investment management. I had also done retail prior to that, and I spent some time doing kind of nonprofit, just helping where I could, even though I had my day job. And I felt like I didn't have to choose at this point between having a bag or having a product that just only looked good versus something that had a social mission attached to it. So, we decided we would make earth bags. Billions of plastic bottles being thrown away every year. That was a big problem, still is. Several billboard vinyls kind of hitting landfills after going out of service. We knew that would be a big opportunity for us to kind of step in and provide some assistance. And importantly, we knew that we couldn't do it all alone. We weren't going to just overnight jump into retail or recycling and just kind of be experts. So we partnered with experts, and we partnered with great organizations like Thread International. Thread International has been able to help us kind of create our fabric that we use. We use the Thread grounded good canvas for our earth bags. That canvas is basically sourced from Haiti, and helps clean up canals and streets and kind of rids trash, and kind of helps them on their end kind of help with their mission of ending poverty, because it creates dignified income opportunities through the sourcing process. So all these things just kind of came together. I knew that kind of working in my corporate job, I was I felt like I wasn't necessarily fulfilled by kind of working, as a cog in a wheel. And, I knew that, potentially I could always, go back to working in a job or taking a job, but it wouldn't always be so easy to kind of start my own business or to be a part of a startup. So, no time ever like the present. And, I eventually would go on and make the leap.
That's so inspiring, Hamilton. Wow. So I know you've kind of touched on it, but this is a different question. What did you want from your business? Is it about that combination of contribution and the dignity for other people? Like, what is it that you personally wanted from the business?
I think personally, I wanted a place that could be really excited to work at. Probably number one. I felt like it was a responsibility to have a place that I was excited to work at, but a place that, kind of it would care, that it would make, a better future. I felt like we had come so far in so many different categories. If you think about iPhones or, laptop computers, any kind of technology, for retail to have, made kind of so much contribution and so many customers over time, and companies and businesses to have, grown to be such big sizes, you would kind of expect, or, you would think that, there could be more advancement in, like just sustainability. So kind of, disappointed with that outcome. We felt like it would make sense for us to, create what we wanted to see, lead how we would like to be led. And at the end of the day, there are others out there, customers that, would like to see the same thing. And, that would be our role. That would give us a way to contribute kind of back to an industry that, has offered us so much in terms of us being consumers. It has been, just a learning experience, something that, I could also learn from the entire experience. Nothing like on the job training. And, I think I've always been in love with retail and fashion, just one way or another. So, this was definitely this is the best job for me. I can't really picture what else I would be doing if I wasn't doing this.
Isn't that fantastic? Thank you. Thank you so much for being so honest and open with that explanation. So my next question is actually one of my favorite questions, but it's that idea of, when did you realize you were actually in a business? When did the business become real for you? Because there's all these different things that come together, as you said, and partnerships and, planning and thinking. And when did it feel real?
I think it felt real probably when I resigned. That's when it became, like, I guess, really clear that, this is a job. This is no longer like a side hustle. This is not this is not a project. This is not a hobby. You are not in school anymore.
Yeah.
You don't work for someone else. Now technically you work for customers or you work for shareholders, whatever. But, that was, I think, when it became real. But I think my passion, to kind of, get off of work at night, work very late, get up early, work early, before a shift, or, to spend, even when I was in business school, I'd spend, my breaks or, dinner evenings, similar to today. I mean, I would, spend time kind of talking to customers, or, trying to, learn more from existing customers, try to, develop new customers. And so it was always, I treated it very seriously, I guess you could say. I had a focus, and I wanted to execute. I was laser focused, though, after really committing my full energy to it. And, surprisingly enough, that's when really, really good things started happening, like the Virginia Velocity Tour, the Bloomingdale's Trunk Show, expanding into new product categories, and, now having a small team to help. So it's been, that's been how it became real for us, was, kind of me, making the full-time commitment.
Thank you. Yeah, nothing more like than that full-time commitment, is there? So
Exactly.
And you said there that that the customers are an important part of your that you're accountable to them. How did you know that and this almost is a redundant question because we sort of know the answer, but like, talk me through, how did you know people wanted this? You wanted a bag that was doing this, but how did you know that there were other people out there? Where did you get that sort of, how did you know this was going to be viable?
I think that's the beauty of crowdfunding. We didn't know, we had no idea really what the response was going to be, but what we were clear on was we could launch this in a place that early adopters are already hanging out and looking for new products. And, we could really like tell our story there and, offer them a chance to buy it. Either it would be two outcomes, it would be binary. Either you would show up and you would support the project, or you wouldn't, and either way, it was a win for me, to me, at the end of the day, because we knew the answer, and that's like half the battle. You spend a lot of time, you're crafting pitches, you're, creating, just like copywriting, you're trying to, work on like press and get word out. You want to work with bloggers, and you're doing all this planning before you start a crowdfunding campaign. In our case, we didn't want to launch to any crickets or anything. So, but that, that's a place where you can lull, and you can either get, you can get trapped in that to some degree, because, you haven't really launched yet, and you're not necessarily doing anything that's like really proving out what you're doing yet. So when that campaign hit, when I hit launch on it, it's like a button on Kickstarter. It's like literally like, it's like click this button to launch the campaign, and then your clock starts ticking. It's like that gave a real kind of urgency behind like what we're doing, and at the same time, it helped prove so much at that, like within that time frame, because we were able to, kind of generate about $30,000 of crowdfunding revenues in about 30 days, which, was a total success for us, to, have never really produced a product ever, to literally have only had one sample made at the time, to, this being a brand new company. We didn't have a website. This was like completely from scratch, completely from trash. It was such an idea that it eventually became like a reality, and that's the fun part about the job. Still to this day, is like making something that didn't exist before, and then finally like seeing it in someone's hands or seeing someone wear it. That's it's just a really fulfilling feeling.
And that $30,000 in 30 days is an enormous endorsement of what you were, that there were people out there who wanted it. As you said, those early adopters, if they jumped in, then that there's a huge portion of people sitting behind that, don't you?
That's right. And, and it's public, it's like, you get a chance to really like sink or swim in front of like everybody, like everyone's looking and watching. So, that gives a big, kind of vote of confidence. But then at the end of the day, there's still more work to be done after that, because, guess what? If you're in our world, retail, you've got to make more products, or else, the general, adoption curve, if you think about, coming behind early adopters, we're not always as either forgiving or understanding of, kind of like the time constraints behind like fulfillment and things like that. So, that's startup life though, right? Like every second, it's a new challenge. You get to the next, level or next hurdle, and then, there's more behind that, so
that's business.
It's kind of, it's kind of like an ongoing cycle, but, that's what we sign up for. That's what those are the same challenges that we enjoy, those challenges, because, we know we're uniquely kind of qualified to, create what we're creating and to produce what we make.
Yeah. So Fantastic. I'm almost speechless, Hamilton, as I'm listening to you. And anyone who knows me knows that speechless isn't something that's part of my characteristics. So we've talked about money a bit. So you got the money from crowdfunding, you got the grant, but there's still a lot of money involved in your business in terms, and I know you partnered, so that makes things, that sort of takes some of the strain off. And you can talk about money in general or in more detail, but what is the funding strategy overall? How will you fund expansion? How do you use the money?
Yeah, so I mean, the number one use of our proceeds is always inventory.
Yeah.
We cannot, seem to make enough inventory to satisfy the demand. It is one of those things that our product, from the very first mile of our supply chain, where individuals collect bottles in Haiti, bring those to collection centers in Haiti, send that over to local recycling facilities in Haiti, convert it over into a plastic flake. The flake gets exported to the States, and then fiber extruded into like a final blend of either like 100% polyester or a blend with cotton. All of this is all happening prior to us, introducing, these bold pops of color to our product from billboard vinyls and poster vinyls, and these really like interesting inside linings on every single bag. So it's already like a story in itself before the product is really even finally assembled. So you end up kind of with this dilemma between like how do you use the proceeds, how do you get the word out. But what we found is that the product already has a built-in virality in it. It's already a remarkable product that we find that when we tell someone about the product, or if someone buys a product, they will continue that as a conversation piece, and they're going to continue to tell other people. So word of mouth has been really good for us. Excuse me. So the financing piece of it has been really about making enough product so that we can hit our goals, and then from there we're able to support the dignified income opportunities along the way. And the whole like brand, or the whole as a company, everything is like all hands on deck just to get products out the door, basically. So from there, we can start to like refine and start to kind of implement more like traditional business practices. But starting out, it's just kind of been a kind of a sprint to get as much product made as we possibly can.
It's a nice problem to have in one way, isn't it, that demand outstrips supply. But as you said, when you're dealing with an audience who wants the product when they buy it, we're used to being able to buy something and have it delivered to us or take it away with us from the retail shop. So it is a big dilemma, that balancing between having enough product to sell and then being able to meet the demands.
Exactly.
Thank you. So you've talked about word of mouth being where new customers come from, and your boots. Was it a boots? What's the trunk sale?
Trunk sale.
So that's another way of new customers. Where else do you think your new customers come from?
So the number one way we get new customers is from our existing customers. Mm-hmm. We found that online really gives us the chance to meet new customers like digitally. There's no doubt about it, everyone's on their phone these days. So we try to create these surprise and delight moments where we can online. And we have had success at our own website, hamiltonperkins.com. Instagram has been really great for us because we really show a lot of the process behind what makes a bag, and the impact of a bag, and we share behind the scenes of photo shoots, or behind the scenes of just what's going on in the office. And we found that people are interested in those individual like narratives, and sometimes they may buy a bag, sometimes they may not, but sometimes they'll just show someone look at these, photos, look at this blog post. We recently got, we just got back from Haiti, where we had a trip to basically to see our existing partners down there. And we walked that first mile of the supply chain, and we walked the floors of our factory, and we, met with the factory officials, and, just kind of sharing and documenting that journey, visually, storytelling, that in itself, helps us, bring more people into what we're doing. They find it. We use hashtags, and, we kind of work with, just press. I mean, we've been featured in Forbes, Fast Company, Money Magazine, Washington Post. So the press has been really, really good to us, and that does help us, find new audiences, or new audiences find us, however you want to look at it, and new products as well. So now we do apparel. We make shirts that are 50% plastic. They're 50% cotton. Same story basically as the bags. The average shirt is about 97% cotton. So ours are 50% plastic and 50% cotton and 100% comfortable. The shirts end up having, much less water use to make it, but no lack of quality, no lack of comfort. It's one of the most comfortable shirts you'll wear. I've been kind of wearing it as my uniform to the office each day. So especially good and breathable when it's, like I said, close to 100
degrees there in Virginia.
Yeah.
So, Hamilton, do you want to just say that, so it's hamiltonperkins.com, because I know right now if someone's listening, they're going to be wanting to jump on and have a look. I'll put all of this in the show notes, and I would normally ask you at the end, but where else? Your Instagram is the same. What is the name for your Instagram?
Yes, the website is hamiltonperkins.com, and our Instagram, Hamilton, is just at Hamilton Perkins.
Okay.
What we've done for your audience as well is we've prepared a discount code so that anyone that's interested in trying us out, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So if you enter the code business, all just spelled out, just business, you will get a $10 discount on your first order, and we'd love to hear from you. So feel free to leave us a review or reach out if you have any questions.
Oh, thank you, Hamilton. That's lovely. And I shall put those in the show notes as well, and we'll put that. Normally I would cover that at the end, but it just seemed a moment to talk about it, because that walking a mile in the that part of that process chain is, it's such storytelling is such a valuable way of conveying a message, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from product optimization to fulfillment improvements and recruiting talent, just even like our standard operating procedures, it all kind of, just by executing on those, it helps us kind of, get discovered.
Yeah, totally. So talking of pricing, what process did you use? And, I know you've been to business school, you've worked in retail. How did you decide a pricing strategy for this business, for these products?
Yeah, so we priced the bags at $95, so they're under $100. Shirts are $25. We found that online, there was a psychological barrier at $100 for a lot of consumers. So we knew we weren't, necessarily, trying to price it above $100. My background before this, I'd also had a leather goods business where I sold high-end luggage. Average selling prices were anywhere between $650 and up, as much as, into the thousands of dollars for bags. And, we just saw that, this was a mass market opportunity. We saw that apparel, it can be as low as anything close to $7 or $8 all the way up to, $130 for a shirt. And well beyond that. I mean, there's, Givenchy makes a shirt that's, $1,200. Kanye West makes a $120 shirt, white shirt, just a plain T-shirt. So we felt like we had a really compelling value proposition in terms of the performance of the shirts and the performance of the bags. And, we wanted to have just an honest markup. We weren't looking to, kind of overcharge, or, we weren't looking to, just kind of price ourselves into prestige, which, that happens too. But, we felt that it was, a comfortable is a comfortable price. And our customers have been, very understanding of our pricing, and, to a large degree have really informed our pricing, and, told us what they're willing to pay, and, told us when, they thought that they should pay, more or less. And, we listen. So that's what, the beauty of being a smaller, firm. You can, adapt, and you don't have to, kind of wait, you have the beauty of patience as well. I think that's the other thing. Like, we're not like a Wall Street company that, has to report, quarterly earnings, and, if everything doesn't work out, then, management is axed, like, it's not like a, kind of environment where, a lot of the coverage and, a lot of things I would notice when I worked as an analyst and when I worked in investment management, what I would see. So, pricing for us, we felt like we could start at a respectable level, and that would largely kind of, like, as early adopters, all that would eventually fund and finance kind of subsequent lines and subsequent collections that, ultimately would be even more affordable and, like, more accessible. So the trick would be the limited edition series, because once a bag is made, it's gone. There's not going to be another bag with, the green and, yellow pop of color the way that one customer's bag was created. Or, you may not get the earth tones anymore on the inside or on the outside. So that would be kind of like, just the thing that sets us apart, and really taps into, like, the individuality of the consumer, and really kind of give them a personal touch.
That's I was just, as you were talking there, I was thinking about your billboards, because you repurpose the billboard. Is it recognizable in any way when you reuse it?
In some ways it is. What we end up doing is trying to find the most interesting pieces of the billboards to use. And, it all depends. Sometimes, for example, we've used some billboard vinyls from Haiti that have been very, they were so popular. They were gone. They were the first to go. There were not any of those left after they came out. But some are, just like a standard. Like, it might just be all red, or it might be all yellow, or it might be just, a green. It all depends. And, we are just starting out. So, we still have some ideas, and, we have some concepts that we're working on, and collaborations that are, yet to be kind of announced, or still waiting to, get final confirmation on some things. But, we're eager to work with clients, and we already have, clients sending us, they're sending us our vinyl, asking us, can we send you this? And, can we do a custom order? We want to show, the world that we're not just advertising, we're making a change, and we're making a difference in what we sell, or how we sell. It makes a difference. And, it's been a really good response, and, we're excited. So also for that, if you want to send us vinyls, send us an email to info@hamiltonperkins.com, and we'll get you the shipping address so that you can send over your vinyls, and we can work on any custom projects, or any or if you just want to have your vinyl used, we're glad to use it. So we appreciate it.
That's and I'm already thinking that there's wonderful ways of making those part of a premium product. Like, my mind is doing some very nice creation there, but I'm sure your creative team are already onto every single one of those as we're thinking about it. So, watch this space would be the point there, wouldn't it?
Well, if you have that many ideas, you may need to come in and work with us. We always need some help with creativity.
We'll talk about it after the show, I think. So, Hamilton, I know you're just getting started, and this is something that I talk to people when they're getting started in business, is about an exit strategy. You don't have to tell us what that is, but have you thought about where this goes, in terms of knowing that, there is a future, and what is that future?
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the companies that, we've admired and we've looked up to, kind of either have exits, whether those are acquisitions or, just going public, or in some cases, unfortunately, going completely out of business. I think that we've seen that, it's possible to run a long-term business. Like, you can run a business long-term and, create, ultimately create value. And that's what we want to do. If we can continue to ultimately create more value and continue to grow at a real sustainable clip, that it would make sense for us to continue to do what we're doing. And, like I say, I don't really know what else I would do if I wasn't doing this. I'm really having a whole lot of fun. I don't think that, I don't see myself like, it would be really difficult to see what else I would be doing if I wasn't doing this. So, I'm really having fun on the job. And I think that, I'll definitely be doing this for quite some time. I mean, I'm always, I still have a hat for kind of finance and investment management. I mean, that's what I, was doing prior to this, and, still kind of, conservatively look at things and, take an approach to, kind of disciplining myself. So, I'm always going to have that, that spirit. But I think for, the present and, for the foreseeable future, minimum 10 years, I'll be doing what I'm doing, for a long time.
And the way we're producing rubbish on this planet and plastics, I think, you're going to have resources for a long time as well. So, yeah. So now let's have some reflection. What's one thing that you really wish you had done differently in the early days at the beginning?
I think I would have started earlier. Like,
can I tell you how many times people say that?
I think I would have started much earlier. I think, I mean, we have already produced 9 billion tons of plastic. That's, I think I saw a statistic that's about 25,000 times the weight of the Empire State Building. I would, have started sooner. I would have, kind of probably been just, taking more risk. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm glad with what I've done. I mean, I'm not like, I'm never one to kind of regret or like, say, well, what if I would have done this? I feel like we always make the best decisions that we can at the time with the information that we have. And, as long as you listen to yourself, I think you're in a good place. So, I think, I think we, if we started sooner, like we would have a lot of action, that's just generally, that's business, but that's everything else too.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a slightly different question. What do you wish you'd known from the start? If somebody could have given you some additional piece of knowledge, what could have been useful at the beginning or from the early days?
Maybe patience and I would say just knowing that there's not just one thing that will make this overnight success. Like I guess I figured that out pretty early, but it always would have been nicer to just know it even sooner, because the optics of what you see, it looks like some cases, oh well, this just happens. You get on this show, or you get in this publication, or you have this crowdfunding campaign, or you make this kind of product, and life is just set, and you're on easy street for the rest of your life. But it just doesn't work that way. It never happens without just really hard work, really long hours, and lots of setbacks, and lots of challenges and lots of adversity. Like, those are the things that actually make it work. And before you know it, you look up, you have all these really small wins that eventually kind of turn into like one big win. So it would have been nice to have, I guess, known that, but you learn that from experience.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons that I do this show, is because when you tell that story, and there's a number of people who I've interviewed along the way who've said similar kinds of things, that it can look like the overnight success happens really quickly, but it's all those bits and pieces that go together, and all that work and all that background and all that effort. And I don't want that to sound like it's just hard work, but it takes diligence, and it takes discipline, and it takes resilience, doesn't it? Now I'm moving into one of my next questions, but it just doesn't just happen, does it?
Right, absolutely. I concur.
Thank you. So you've had terrific people around you in terms of your customers supporting you through the crowdfunding. My question is, who, apart from yourself, is of the greatest assistance to you and to your business? And you can either name names or you can talk in concepts about who are the people that have really helped you along the way.
Well, definitely would be my wife, from just, supporting our household to, actually being hands-on with a lot of our operations and production, helping us kind of stay on track with, creating the products that we need to create and, really just, being very supportive and kind of understanding, coming from an entrepreneurial household herself. I think, it's really been, just a great force to have on our team. So, I think, and then, we have interns now. So our interns have been doing, stellar, performance, down to, this very podcast interview. We've had some really talented folks come and work with us. So shout out to Daniel and Sophia, really working hard this summer. And, we're just, we're really, really excited about, just kind of like building up our team.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Who can give you good feedback, Hamilton? Like you've talked about you listen to customers and what they tell you. How do you get good feedback?
I personally, in business, I get a lot of the feedback from action, so it's like crowdfunding, like that's a great example. It was going to be fine to get advice and to get, people that have done it before tell you how to do it, and to get, experts and, people that are consulting you, like all that stuff's great. But, the best feedback is to know, did you sell anything? Like if you're in business and you're, entrepreneurship, whatever, if you don't sell something, that should, to me, that's the feedback. Did it sell, or did it work, or, what was the outcome? So, I look into real time a lot. I found that I learn more by doing that. I'm the type to want to make something, and that'll help me figure out if it worked or not. If not, I think it's always good to have just people that you can trust, and it's always good to have great advisors, which we've had some really been fortunate to have great advisors that we can always have for moral support and to tell us how things happen in their time. We've had just lots of companies, whether they're like in our own like backyard, basically giving us help and just giving us thoughts on what we're doing, or just giving us encouragement. It's always good, and like including us and things that they're doing. That's like one of the most powerful ways I feel like that we get feedback. It's like to actually work with people that are giving you advice or giving you thoughts. Like I think that's a big that's a big testament.
It is. And you mentioned at the beginning that when you were part of that grant, that $25,000 prize with the governor of Virginia, and the leadership and the number of people that you came into contact through that, you mentioned that at the beginning, that those people as well had been part of, who has been of assistance and gives feedback. So, yeah, it feels like you've been very supported, but it sounds like you're the sort of person who is very easy to work. You ask for help, you take the support in the spirit that it's intended.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes vision, right? Like feedback comes to me like from, like having a vision for something, and the thing about it is normally if we're gifted with a vision, or we're gifted with a talent, like usually that's something that's like unique, like when I look at it, like, for example, like I may look at Elon Musk of Tesla, and I may see what he's doing and what their company does, like that's a gift, like that's something that, he's uniquely, equipped to handle. And, I think we all have like that kind of, we all have something to bring to the table, now, everyone is not going to be Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or something like that. Everyone can't be Oprah. But you can be yourself. And that's the thing I think is underplayed a lot, so that's always like my message when people ask me about my experience, whether they're, like coming up or like, young people, I'll let them know, like, you can be comfortable knowing that you have enough. You were given enough when you were born. You have all that you need. And don't be afraid to, kind of voice that, or to, really live that, because there's a lot of things that are set up to help us think that we don't have enough. And, it's just not true.
And Hamilton, we've only got a couple of questions left, but my next question was going to be, what would you say to someone who was thinking about starting their business if they came to you? Because that's a lot of the audience of this podcast are people thinking about starting a business or getting into that. They're sort of in the side hustle, that sort of space. What would you say to someone?
Yeah, I think, just make every minute of your day map to what you want to happen. So if you want to start a business and you're working at a job or you're in school, make sure that your schedule reflects what you want to happen. So that means customer development, number one. Unless you're just a great engineer of some type or some designer that you can create something and you can pull people to you, you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to sell your product. You're going to have to sell your service. You're going to have to get people really excited about what you're doing. No one's going to do that for you. So, really reflect on, kind of like just your routine, something that simple. Like I say, I made it a point to, spend lots of time creating the world that I wanted to basically live in, and that meant cutting out, happy hours. That meant cutting out, time hanging with friends. That meant cutting out like vacations. That meant, vacations were work. So, I haven't taken a proper vacation, in almost 3 years. Next month will be the first time I actually take a real vacation where I completely recharge. And I'm not saying that that's the best for everyone, because, you got to have your health and, but I've done things to adjust, and, I've gotten a trainer now, and I get up 5 a.m. in the morning, every morning, and I'm in the gym 5:30, so I'm eating healthy. I do things to, make sure that I'm personally, I'm okay. I'm physically fit, but, I would just say, make sure that you have, and surround yourself with people that, either are going to support you or challenge you. You be the judge of what you want, but surround yourself with people that are doing things. You'd be surprised, the outcome of just surrounding yourself with 3 to 7 other like-minded individuals, in terms of starting a company or running a business, having a support system to bounce ideas off of, even if it's only once a month or once a quarter. You'd be surprised how that will impact your performance. And that's something that I've found good experience with, is just aligning myself with people that have either been there, done it before already, and have already had success, and really making that be my circle of friends and influence. And I think that the good thing is, if you're getting started and you're listening to this, you're good thing to remember is that you're young, so you have time to try things. It's okay to fail. You can you don't have to you don't have to make Facebook on your first try. You don't have to you don't have to make this unicorn on your first try, and if you don't make that, that doesn't mean you're a failure. So just know that you already have what it takes to be successful.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And you mentioned Elon Musk. I mean, I absolutely am in awe of his ability to bounce back from things that don't go right. When you read his story about, and you watch what's happened, to SpaceX over the last 10 years, that ability to pull himself back from big disappointments, in those teams. So it doesn't have to be big, massive disappointments. Small things can. Anyway, that's I don't want to get on to Elon Musk and how fantastic I think his vision is for what we're doing. Hamilton, one last question. 3 key characteristics that you have that make you successful. And you've talked about a lot of different things, but when it comes down to it, what do you think the 3 things are that actually make a difference for you, that are the reason you are successful in your business?
I have gratitude. I'm grateful. I have a really strong and high level of work ethic, and then I'm patient. I don't expect to make everything happen in an hour. I don't. I don't have to. Like I said, I mean, we're not in a Wall Street environment where this has to be done on a quarters basis. What else? I mean, those are the three things that.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like those are the things that have contributed the most to our success.
Thank you. Now we're just going to close now, but is there any one last thing that you would like to say to the listeners before we close off?
Yeah, we thank you for your ears, and like we said, check us out at hamiltonperkins.com. Feel free to enter that discount code in at checkout. The code is business, and you just type that in at checkout, and you'll get $10 off your first order. And we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your reviews are welcome. And again, just thank you so much for having me, Ingrid.
Oh, thanks for your time, Hamilton.
And I almost don't want to say anything. Hamilton has said everything so perfectly well himself. What a fabulous person, and he and his team are really making a difference. He offered that discount code, and you can redeem it over at hamiltonperkins.com and use the code BUSINESS. Grab yourself one of those terrific bags, knowing that the impact your purchase has for so many people. Thanks for listening, and if you're thinking about starting your own business and wondering what are the first steps, you may want to take the Business Startup Readiness Assessment. Head over to www.healthynumbers.com.au/quiz and see where you are on the Business Startup Readiness Scale. Once you complete the quiz, you'll be asked for your first name and email address. We'll send you out some terrific, helpful information about how to create, start and grow your own business, including an extract from my soon-to-be-released book, So You Want to Start a Business. As always, the transcripts are available on my website and my blog. Remember, ideas without action, well, they're just that. They're just ideas. What action are you going to take today, especially after listening to Hamilton Perkins and what those guys are up to? Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.